Do you mind if I bought a bunch of juice maker materials that came in juice in your house? I don't have juice.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright, but made a stockpile of juice.
Okay, so we're filming it backwards, okay? So everybody do the whole show in reverse, alright?
Alright. Alright, are we doing this? Are we doing the same thing over again? Or
Yeah, let's just start back with Justin, right?
yeah.
Alright.
Okay, we've done all of our stories. Go. Hey,
Alright.
Jay.
So that was Dave. So when alright, everybody do it one more time. When I was in let me see, when I was a small lad, I went to a theme park with my family, and it was one of those days where it was just like, I don't want to do anything, Mom. You're making me go out on this vacation that you spent so much money on. And so we went to Knoxberry Farm, and I was like, Mom, I just want a pickle right now. That's all I want. I just want a pickle.
That's not much to ask.
Yeah, it's not much to ask, but we were on the other side of the food court, so it was like, we were over here and the food place is over here, so we had to walk all the way across the park. So she was like, oh, fine. So we went over there, and they didn't have like the normal pickles, they only had the ones that are sealed and in that airtight thing with the juices in there. So we grabbed one, and it's like, yeah. No, it was a plastic container thing with but I was like 7 at the time, so this pickle was like this in my hand. So I was just going at it, and then
How are you going?
I was going at it like this.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I had to go around. But I ate it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so good, and my stomach is so full. Let's go on some rides.
Oh no!
So we went on, I believe it was called the Matterhorn.
Yes, familiar.
Are you familiar with that?
It's in Disneyland.
Is it in Disneyland?
Yep.
We were in Disneyland. And we went on the Matterhorn. No, not Knoxberry Farm. So we went on the Matterhorn, and guess what happened, you guys?
Yeah, tell us. Pickle vomit.
I pickle vomited all over my mom. And she was like,
Your mom's right straight to
I
Yep.
guess this is what happened. This is what happens when you have children.
So she said, I would have
No,
loved.
but she was thinking. You could tell. I could tell that, like, she was just like, "Yep."
She's like,
Yep.
I raised him in Alaska. I should have never freaking had him.
So I am from, I used to live in southern Georgia, and there's a amusement park there called Wild Adventures, and that was the original location that they were thinking about putting Disney World at, because it was like a really wide open space, there was nothing around there, but they really wanted to increase the tourism. So they didn't do that because one guy wouldn't sell his land. So we missed out on Disney World because one guy wanted to grow some strawberries or something. So we had Wild Adventures instead, and I was inside of this Wild Adventures. It became a fairly big theme park very quickly, and one time I got we went there all the time, and I got separated from my parents, as you do, and I believe I was 7, so I was at the point in my life where I wanted some independence, but didn't know what it was. I just knew that I wanted it, so I ran away from my parents while they were like in line for some Dippin' Dots that they were getting me. And so then I was lost, and like it was just like a crowd went that way, a line went that way, and I was like, uh-oh, where am I? Saw this guy from the back. I saw my dad, and so I went up and I was like, Dad, I was so scared. And this guy, I hugged his leg, and this guy just turns around, and he's like, ugh, and he just stares at me, and I go, and I just said, you're not my dad, as if like he needed to know. Like I didn't mean to like ruin. I'm not a homewrecker, but you're not my father. And so then I turned around and my parents were there, and they were like, "What is the matter with you?" And they ran up and grabbed me and hugged me and told me they were glad I was alive. And
oh my God! You're like, this is my new father, Carl. I had this vivid picture of you separating yourself from your family before you really like got into the story, and then you're like, so I shot a flare gun so they could locate me. I don't know why that popped into my head. It was a wild adventure.
Yeah, so I hugged a man's leg.
Hug life.
Hug what? Show.
Cool. So when I was 11, I was at a Six Flags with my whole family, and my dad talked me into riding the Roadrunner's Revenge, which I'm terrified of roller coasters, so I didn't want to do it. He's like, oh, it's a baby roller coaster, you'll be fine. So like we get on it, and the only other kid from my family that rides it is my 6-year-old cousin Taylor. So I'm 11, she's 6, and we got stuck at the peak of the second highest thing. And when you're stuck at it, like you're not, you think of being stuck, but like, you're stuck like this, and you have to remember that the only seatbelt is that bar that doesn't touch you. And so I immediately burst into tears. I didn't want to be there in the first place, and then we were stuck. And the thing about being stuck on a roller coaster is that like they don't airlift you out of there. The way that you're supposed to escape is there is a ladder that runs perpendicular to the tracks that is not like stairs. It's like a ladder with rungs. And if you think about the last time you were on a roller coaster and how high up you were, and so they come on the PA system and they're like, okay guys, we're working on getting the ride back moving, but if we can't, you're gonna have to climb the ladder. And that's when I lost my absolute entire shit. And I just like burst into tears, and I was like screaming and crying, and everybody's trying to calm me down, and there were like way younger kids on the ride that are like, oh, I'm chilling, what's up? So I was freaking out, and I just remember being like, I can't climb the ladder, I'm gonna have to die here. Like this is it. This is where I die, I'm not climbing the ladder.
This is where I die.
Yeah,
it's a good day to die.
I was not gonna do it. And then the thing that's really shitty is that after they get the ride moving again, you have to ride the rest of that roller coaster with the fear in your heart that at any moment it could break down again.
Especially when you're upside down.
Right, especially when you're upside down. So it was really terrifying, but then we get off the ride, and my little cousin Taylor, remember she's 6 years old, we get off the ride, and all the adults are trying to like make us feel better and like joke around. So my dad goes, all right girls, you ready to go again? And my little 6-year-old cousin goes, hell no.
I worked at an amusement park for 3 years in high school,
Oh my
which
God,
is
I'm so sorry.
it's a really volatile 3 years for like a obese, like completely like bangs going everywhere. Girl, I was a mess in high school. I was gross. So I worked at this amusement park. It was called Kings Island. It was right next to Loveland, Ohio, where I lived. And I'm like trying to like sort through all like the infinite just horrible memories, and actually like okay, so I fell in love a lot in high school. So like everyone who worked there, like no matter how gross they were, I was like super attracted to them. So like the guy who worked at Coke Toss like had a beer belly, and he was like 17, and I like kind of wanted to do him. And then the guy who worked at Punk Cat was really funny because he like played with the stuffed monkeys, right? But like none of them were ever interested in me. So like one time I was working at Hang Time, which is of course right next to Way Downtown, which are basketball terms that we've I think made up. I was working, and I was like feeling really good about myself. I had the microphone, and I was like, come on down, give it a shot, give it a try, whatever, it's Way Downtown. And so I'm feeling like super good about myself. Like my shirt fit well that day. And so I remember that one of the guys who I was kind of in love with, he was my supervisor, he came by and he was like checking on me, and I was like kind of flirting and like trying to do backward shots, because that's a really hot thing for an overweight 16-year-old to do. And the guy from the Name on Rice stand, I don't know if you guys have seen this, it's these little stands, and they will write your name on a piece of rice and then sell it to you for like $15. This is the thing. So he's Turkish, right? And he comes over and he starts flirting with me, and I was like, oh my God. I've never been flirted with before. This is all like really exciting and new. And my supervisor was standing right there, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna play this up. So I was on the microphone, and I was like, and he was like trying to flirt with me, but I couldn't hear him very well. So I was like, say it into the microphone. So he gets the microphone and he goes, your eyes are like the stars that sparkle with the diamonds. And I was like, fuck yeah, they are. And then I got in trouble because you're not supposed to do that. So that's the story.